What up, people? What up, people? Thanks for checking us out. This is the SBP. As always, I'm your boy Prime Source. What is good?
Man, listen. How is it that it's 2023 and people are still trying to do April Fool's jokes? Let it go, bro. Let it go. It's not even fun. One, it's not funny. Two, what? Y'all just be saying anything. Y'all just use that day to lie about stuff and get away with it. That's it. You just want to lie. That's all. Because there's no other reason. I don't understand. What's up, Prime?
Hey, now, what you mad about? Somebody posted that the Philly was signing Zeke.
Oh, I did see that one. I did see that. I saw a whole bunch. I'm like, dog. First of all, oh, the first joint I saw yesterday morning, Beyonce and Jay-Z after 15 years are getting a divorce. I'm like, then I was like, 2 seconds later, I'm like, what's today? Oh, it's April 1st. Okay. Why, y'all? Why? Well, what is the point? What value are you getting? Y'all just saying stuff that y'all want to happen in y'all heart, but it ain't happening, and y'all just try to put it out there and trick people with it. I don't understand. It's crazy.
I didn't see as many April Fool's joints as I'm normally seeing.
Yeah.
And the couple that I did see was so outlandish, it was a lie. Like I ain't even entertain it. It even no shock value, anything like that. But yeah, people terrible, man. Like, people are
Wow.
terrible. Um, but yeah, man, I see you fresh off. You're doing your music thing over on our TikTok.
Yes, sir.
Had me jamming this morning. Music was jamming so much, man. I had to, I had to take the music to the shower. I'm in there jamming, bro. Like, I'm like, do we want to kick the show back another 30 minutes? Because I don't want to stop. Even though I got the fire playlist, like several with all those joints on it, it's just like when somebody playing, I'm just like, damn.
I know it. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. It's different when it's happening in the moment, or somebody else does it, and you're like, oh.
Yeah. What was you bumping the melanated jams?
Unmelanated jams, man. We got all the Caucasian persuasion. Got busy. Got busy. I had to get him with the we had to do Bobby Caldwell, rest in peace. A
Word
little
up.
bit of Hall and Notes. Threw some Bob James in
Mm.
there. Man Without Hats, new shoes, Madonna, Journey, all kinds of good stuff. All kinds
You
of good
played that
stuff.
Madonna, that borderline. I was like, okay,
Hey,
yeah,
Borderline is that joint though.
for
Borderline is
sure.
fire.
People sleep on Madonna, man. But if you was back in the day, you knew
Yeah.
she was it. I mean, she was dope. She was iconic. Um, but speaking of unmelanated,
Uh-oh.
we have a basketball team that will be competing for a championship today, and that will
Yeah.
be the ladies from Iowa,
Speaking
and
of unmelanated,
they will be taking on of course, LSU. But we're gonna before we get into their matchup today, man, we're gonna talk about what just happened in the Final Four game
whew,
when said team took on perennial favorite South Carolina. What you think about that game, bro?
first of all, it was a great game to watch. It was a great game to watch. Both teams played hard, my man. Both teams played hard. As who was that? Rasheed Wallace. I think Rasheed said that. Yeah, it was a good game. It was a great game actually. Back and forth between Zaya Cook handling the scoring because Aaliyah Boston got in foul trouble early and didn't play at all in the second quarter. Like she didn't play a second of the second quarter. But of course, the star of the show, Caitlin Clark. Goodness gracious, man. The wild part. Okay, she scores a lot of points. Yes. She shoots crazy. Yes. She makes the right play 98% of the time. She makes the right play and she drops dimes like
For sure.
bounce pass through the lane, chest pass, one hand, left hand, right hand. I'm like, dog, she is out of control. Out of control.
Yeah, and what I'm loving, I know everybody's not a women's basketball fan, and a lot of people are just watching, right? So I can respect the comments when the people are coming out saying, "Man, she the real deal." But what kills me is just some of the folks is acting like this is just something new. Like you see what I'm saying? Like I can respect. I had a couple of people come out and say, "Look, I ain't even gonna lie." Like our brother Cliff Jones said, "Cliff said, look, I ain't never watched her play a full game the other day." You know what I'm saying? And now she the real deal. This is a young lady who says 3 seasons in college, right? 3 seasons, has a career scoring average of 27 points a game. You can go back to, and I've been screaming. It's not like y'all gonna listen to me anyway. I know y'all get tired of hearing me talk, but I've been screaming it and posting it for 3 years. Right now, I'm not gonna say that I ever saw her playing for a title game, but as far as her being the real deal, bruh, you know, her freshman year, she had at least 10. I want to say it's probably 12 games, but at least 10 games where she was 30 plus. You see what I'm saying? As a freshman, here she is, a junior. And it's, you know, I don't want to say announcing herself to the world because she's really been out there, right? Yeah. But now that this team has made it this far, like everybody's, wow, this blah, 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 this and the third. I'm like, okay. Hopefully, maybe now with things like this happening, some of you folks will try to pay a little more attention to the women's game instead of waiting until we get to these last, 4 to 8 teams, all right? Give them women some love, man. Shorty is a baller, and I knew that way before this past week, bro.
Baller, and I mean, and she's not scared either. She talks trash. Like I don't know if she necessarily talks trash to her opponent in mid game, but she like you saw the wave off of Raven Johnson. Raven Johnson's at the time, which and I. As much as it was just disrespectful, I didn't even, I feel like it was calculated. Like she was like, I'm not worried about her, but she wanted her to see, I am not worried about you. And Raven Johnson is a freshman.
She's a baby. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. She's like, I'm not worried about, I'm like, oh my God, she just took away whatever little bit of confidence I had. That's what it felt like to me. It felt like it was calculated. And she did that joint as a message. I love it. I loved
it, man. She was on that Kobe. And matter of fact, I don't know if you've peeped it. Do you know she been wearing them Kobe 5s, them Bruce Lee editions?
Oh yeah. I didn't even notice.
Through the whole tournament. And they the Bruce Lee joints because it simulates that yellow and black tracksuit that he had on in Game of Death back in that's 78, 79. Pretty sure like 79. I got the DVD right here somewhere. But it's like it was ever a play. It's like, yeah, you can put those on. Like if you're gonna put on them Kobe's, you got the ball.
You got the ball.
And she didn't come out here with back-to-back 40-point games on these people, man. Like it's crazy. And shout out to all, not just the fans and you new fans and for the moment fans, but shout out to all of the royalty that's giving her love. Some of the tweets and stuff I said was crazy. But I'm going to tell you something. I don't know if you saw this. One of my favorite players of all time. And, of course, I know he's one of your guys for sure. Irvin Magic Johnson. Did you see what he said about her?
No, I didn't.
Irvin Magic Johnson says, and this was before this game. This is when she hit the 40-point triple-double last week. He says, what makes Caitlin's 40-point triple-double so special is the fact that so many players never had one. Not me. Not MJ, not Larry Bird. That's love. That is love, man. Caitlin Clark is the real deal. So if you don't know, now you know, but you should have been known.
And she still got another year in college.
Ricky, what's up, Matt? What's good? Yeah, that's the thing. She has another year in school. And have you seen, granted, she's not making the money right now like Paige Beckers is making. I think her Paige's NIL is like 1.6 million, I think. Angel Reese, who we're gonna see later on today, she's at like 1.1. But still, you look at Caitlin Clark, she's got H&R Block, she's got Nike, she has Goldman Sachs, and it's like a couple other ones. You see what I'm saying? Like, you ain't getting these deals if you ain't real.
She getting some more. She getting some more after today. Yeah. One way or the other. She getting some more after today. But are we going to talk further about the game?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'll relax.
Yeah. I just want to ask you about the game because I kept seeing a lot of comments where people were talking about the officiating in this game, and outside of one or two calls that I thought I said, well, maybe let this team play a little bit or whatever, I didn't think it was officiated bad. Now there's some things that could have been a little uneven. I understand that there were some people talking about and South Carolina getting away with a couple of things down low because of the style that they play. You know, this rugged, and they didn't call this and should have been over the back on Cardoso here and all that. But for me, I thought it was a pretty good officiated game. This is
I didn't have any problem with the
right.
officiating. Actually, we mentioned Bo Jones, former VCU standout
Yeah,
and
I guess.
former high school girls basketball coach and
Yep.
current assistant coach at JUCO. Bo Jones Jr. He actually, I saw, I don't know where it was, uh, but he was like, yeah, I figured the refs would try to keep this close, and I was like, I didn't respond to it, but I was thrown by it because I didn't see it myself, and he said it, so it made me think about it a little further. But I was like, nah, I don't see the problem. Like South Carolina plays physical. We all know this. Like this is what Gino was complaining about. The whole SEC plays physical. So if the ref didn't call it ticky tack, then and on the other hand, Caitlin Clark definitely was pushing off when she was going down. She'd be driving with her right, push with the left
Yes.
multiple times. So if you wanted to
JB, what's
call it
good, bro?
closer, it would have changed the whole game. I had no problem with it though. I had no problem with
I
it.
saw that too. I to me, what I saw was I saw some stuff that on both sides that I think that if you wanted to be ticky tack about, you just mentioned the main one I was talking about on the Iowa side. Yeah, you could have, but they let them play. I never felt that it was one side or the other was getting the most of it. I saw some stuff on both sides, so for me, it's kind of even.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
this is the thing that I did see a lot, and I can agree with, but I may understand why it didn't happen. This is from my guy, from Ricky Whitfield, right? He says, I love Don, but she did make adjustments in this game. And I saw this a lot across social media where people were talking about finding a way to defend that, that pick and roll, the screen and roll, making the adjustments to get more people out on the shooters.
Right.
And I did notice during the course of the game, a lot of times when it looked like South Carolina was in trouble, like they get down by 10, 12, whatever, Don was just sitting there on the bench. But to me, she was just showing confidence in her team. Like, look, we got a lot of seniors on this team. We got a team that's been together. They came in as the number one recruiting class when they came in. They've been in these situations before. I'm gonna let them play it out, right? I'm gonna let them play it out and see if they can dig their way out of this because I got ultimate confidence in them. And I'm gonna be honest with you. Say what y'all want, it almost worked. I mean, they kept coming back. They kept coming back. They kept coming back. Unfortunately for them, Caitlin Clark kept coming back. Kept coming. They kept coming. But I did see that a lot, and so you do wonder if you go back and say, well, has she made the adjustments? How much a difference it would have made? It could have made a difference, right? But we don't know. But I don't really fault Don personally myself because I felt like she had the type of team where she could put it in their hands and pull it out. It just didn't happen.
I thought it was so earlier. I was going to say because you said you were talking about how many people were commenting on the game. And at one point, I was like, dog, y'all are super critical for people that don't even watch games. Y'all, how did y'all get so critical of stuff? And I'm not talking about Ricky. I mean, obviously, he knows basketball.
He know the game, man.
So, but I'm talking about it was like everywhere. Every social media, it was people commenting that I'm like, dog, you ain't never watched, you have never said anything about a women's game ever. And all of a sudden you got all the answers. I don't understand. Multiple people, different platforms. That job was driving me crazy. But then I thought about it, I was like, well, at least they're talking about the game. It's hard enough to get people to talk about the women's game at all. So at least they're paying attention to it. It's the same thing that happens in, I mentioned it before, Super Bowls, Olympics, anything that's a big deal that the eyes of the world are on, everybody has an opinion, even though they don't know what they're talking about. They have to have an opinion just because they can. But I don't know about the adjustments thing. I think they were forcing layups because they didn't want to give up the threes, because it's not like it's just Caitlin Clark shooting threes.
Right.
Everybody's shooting threes for hours. Everybody. And you'd
Gabby
rather give up the
Marshall,
two
Kate
than the
Martin.
three. But I did it was two things. One, it was I would have liked to have seen them uh double harder and just commit to the double harder. At least make the pass difficult. Like not that the pass wasn't difficult. She just would drive it dimes, bounce pass, like I said, chest pass. Everything she did, it was pretty much a dime. But they were all shooting to the lane. It was pick and roll straight to the lane. Where's the help? Where's the help? I was hoping for some help. The only other thing that I would even complain about is Raven Johnson, who I mentioned earlier. Okay, clearly,
Remember that name. I mean, remember that name, people. I'm gonna tell you.
yeah.
Remember that name.
On a remember it on a positive note.
Yeah.
This is not positive, but on clearly Iowa was daring her to shoot the rock, right? Daring her to shoot the three. Here's my thing, and it's the same thing that people say about Ben Simmons, and I'm like, that's I don't understand it. If Caitlin Clark is standing inside the dotted line,
Mm-hmm.
nobody's making you shoot a three. Nobody's making you shoot a three. Drive the ball into the lane as far as you can get and make them do something.
Yeah.
That I do not understand. Like, you don't have to shoot the three. And you don't want to. Clearly, you don't want to shoot the three. She shot what, 20% on threes in the season, something like that. I was like, dog, if you don't drive that ball, especially when Clark got into, semi-foul trouble,
Yeah.
I'm like, dog, if y'all don't drive the ball, one of two things. Somebody else got to come in, or drive that joint all the way to the lane and make somebody do something. You can't just stand out there at the 3-point line because they're going to give it to you. Drive the ball. Drive
Yeah.
it. It ain't like you can't score. It's not like you can't dribble. It ain't like you can't shoot a floater in the lane. Drive the ball and force the defense to do something.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I really thought South Carolina was going to win this game, to come back and win this game, because the bench started cooking, and they do what they do. Like, that bench, several times has been right in line with the starters when it comes to scoring. Cardoso, who could start for any team, but they like to bring
Right.
her off the bench. Favor Victoria Sachs. Amira, I always forget how to pronounce her name. She's a dog. She said she contributed about 8 points. You
In the
mentioned
first
Johnny.
half.
I really thought, I said, they about to do what they do now. I said, they bring in their bench. The bench is superior to what Iowa has. But I think the Iowa coaching staff did a great job, especially when they got a couple of people in foul trouble or semi-foul trouble, is navigating that
Right.
to where they didn't have to go deep into their bench, because that's not what they wanted to do. You're looking at an Iowa team where you're talking about 4 seniors traditionally in the starting lineup, and then a junior who is the best player on the team, or maybe in America. I mean, that's what the voters say. She's a player of the year, right?
Right.
Seems like a team that's been through some things, right? So, but I really thought that South Carolina their bench was going to be the key to this. Even though Iowa was playing great, I said eventually this is going to catch up to Iowa. But the players and the coaching staff did not let that happen. And then, as you see, it went down. It went down. One of the greatest performances. We say it every year, but this has got to be one of the greatest performances we've ever seen. 41 points. As you mentioned, the passing game by Caitlin Clark was ridiculous. And just what it meant. This is Final Four for a chance to go to the championship game. And you knocked off the number 1 seed, who was on a crazy winning streak.
Yeah. I also, it was some of that too. If she had a shooter,
Mm-hmm.
it would have made a difference. I don't doubt that that's true, but we can't come back from a team that ain't lost in a complete calendar year plus and be like, well, they should have had a shooter.
Mm-hmm.
They won how many games straight? That's tough. That's tough to
Yeah.
argue after they run off a whole year plus straight, and now we second guessing them. As far as the shooter, it's not that it's not true. It's
Right.
true, but they have definitely not suffered because of that until yesterday, or on Friday. Excuse me, Friday.
Indeed, heck of a game. Lived up to all the hype. If you believed it was going to be some hype, I certainly did. I thought it would be a good game,
Yeah,
but didn't expect the outcome. I didn't predict that outcome. Let's just say that. But respect, all love and respect. Is women's basketball.
if I would have been thinking, if I would have been thinking, I would have made that MGM bet, taking Virginia Tech and Iowa, and then taking LSU and Iowa, because it was plus 520. Iowa was plus 520 on MGM. I was like, oh snap! I wish I would have seen that. I didn't realize it until Caesar posted his bet where he won. I was like, dang, that
Yeah,
was easy money right there.
he might have been on a small bit of a streak. He got a couple of wins here and there. Caesar working on something.
He probably get bet 1,000 times and won 7 times, but show us the wins. Show us the wins.
Indeed, another a great game. But another pretty good game, bro. Let's be honest. Another pretty good game was LSU and Virginia Tech. And I know it wasn't the outcome a lot of people around our way wanted, right?
Yeah,
But wow, what a game. LSU comes out and wins it 79-72. But Tech was looking like they had a real shot for maybe about almost 3 quarters, I would say, of
yeah.
this one.
I think
But consistency pays off, and sticking to what you do pays off. And that's why I felt like LSU won it.
I think Tech was up 9. They were up 9 going into the fourth quarter, something like that.
And they got up to as many as what was it, 13, something?
That's wow. It was looking good. It was looking good for a while, and then reality set in. But you heard it from the Bayou Barbie after the game. She said, "Yeah, I mean, we are a roller coaster. We go down and we come back up. Like it's streaky. That's how our season has been. That's how our games are on a regular basis. So we don't necessarily get down. We just keep playing, and the tides turn eventually."
Yeah. Hey, Rick, good looking out. I'm gonna check that video after this, man. Video joint acting crazy on here. I actually would pull it up here because it was another video I wanted to share later, but it's not acting right. But yeah, good looking, bro. I'm gonna check that video on that joint when we done here. It was a really good game, man. I'm gonna tell you what I thought. I really thought that LSU was gonna come out of the half just on fire because I thought at some point that the way Alexis Morris was playing, that the Tech guards, and they wanted to try to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering at some point, was that going to burn them out a little bit? Because Amore, she didn't start off hot. She missed a few shots, and it took her a minute to get going. So I felt like I said, well, if those LSU guards going to make Tech work a little bit, it's about to be a problem, right?
Yeah.
But now Tech hung in there. I mean, they hung in there. They did their thing, but just towards the end, I think LSU, being the greatly coached team that they are, monsters on the boards. Them second chance opportunities. We talk about it all, or third chances in some of those cases. Were key. And I also felt that, I felt like their game plan was to try to get Kitley in foul trouble, which they did early. Right. And Kitley actually played pretty well, all things considered. She didn't seem like she was really, worried about the bigs down low for LSU. But I just think LSU just stuck to what they normally did. I didn't see any big adjustments in this particular game. They just continued to pound the boards, and I think it eventually paid off.
I saw someone, I can't remember who it was, I know it was a former college player, well, a woman, and she said that she said this before the Final Four. She was like, I am not impressed with LSU. She said, I am not impressed with LSU, and I think they had an easy bracket. I think they had an easy road to get here. And even after this game, it was a second video after Friday's game, and she said, my stance has not changed. I am not impressed with LSU. Like, it's nothing that they do that overall impresses me. I kind of understand what she was saying, because you look at me like, what do they do great? And then you look at them and you say, win. That's what they do great, win.
Bro. I because outside of, you know, outside of, I don't know. I mean, to me, I understand it because I guess it's nothing super flashy about it, right?
Right.
But if you played and you love the game of basketball, a lot of what they do is fundamental, you know. And you know, they get the board. They defend pretty well. I think they really defend pretty well.
Yeah.
So if you're talking about defense and boards, I mean, to me, that's impressive. Like you have a big down there who's, I guess she's the power forward that that comes over and has 33 double doubles, right? 33 double doubles. That's ridiculous. You see what I'm saying? And then her shot, you have a big whose shot is crazy. Like, you ever see how effortless her shot is? It's like it's just everything just rolls off her fingers. You know, you've got a guard who can shoot from the outside, but who's a dog. You know, we were just talking about Zaya Cook. Alexis Morris is a dog. Like, you know, so I don't know what else you want. You know, I guess if they happen to win this national title, I guess to that particular person who made that statement, it's still not going to be impressive to them because of the bracket.
Right. And because it wasn't South Carolina who they lost to earlier in the season.
Right. I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
I can't remember. I wish I could remember who it was, though.
You know, but I'm gonna tell you, and you got a coach too. Look, I know everybody don't like Kim Mulkey, and I get it, and I understand a lot of the reasons why. But let's put some respect here, right? At least, no matter how you feel about her personally. So she brings over 2 national titles from Baylor. This is only her second year here at LSU. She's taken a team to the first ever national title game on either side. You know, men's and girls. And then on top of that, this is what people are really missing. Do you know how many new players are on this team? They went on that last year?
How many?
9.
Whoa, 9.
Yeah, she has 9 new players. So all I'm telling you is, win or lose today, it's everything they've done this year is pretty big.
Right.
This is pretty big. Let's put some respect on them. I know that everybody's cup of tea. There was all the stuff, you know, out there about Angel Reese, and early in the season, she's flashy and all in people's faces. I mean, you know, y'all ain't say that, you know. Well, I take that back because I've seen some people now that's mad with Caitlin Clark, but I'm not gonna get into the reasons why. But still,
no, I feel you. I feel you on that. But when men do it, it's not the same. It's not looked at the same.
Yeah. So, I mean, it is what it is. I know Freeze, well, she losing some more players. I know Freeze wish she could have kept that down there when she had her, but
Wish I could get that up there. Can you see that, Brian? I know you can't see that very well. I just wanted to show this real quick because I had 3 out of the 4 in the women's Final Four, and I had LSU going to the championship. That's all I wanted to say. That's all I wanted to say. You see the 3 out of 4. I had 3 out of 4.
right.
3 out of 4. And you see the LSU over there in the championship, even though I had South Carolina winning Friday. Just saying, just throwing it out there. Because my men's bracket was terrible. So I figured I'd show you this one because it's what, 99%. Oh, it ain't up there right on the joint. Yeah, 99%. We in the 99%. That's all.
Yeah, somebody put, so they've got a comment, Tech went cold and rushed. Yeah, I think they did get a little cold. We saw them hit some shots down there, but once again, I think a lot of that was because I think Tech was beginning to tire just a little bit. And LSU has done that to teams, you know, all season. The one team that they couldn't do it to, of course, you mentioned it earlier when they played South Carolina, because South Carolina can go deep in their bench.
Yeah,
I've seen LSU wear some teams out, right?
Yeah, it was the opposite actually when they played South Carolina. South Carolina wore them out and then went on that run late.
Yeah. Hey, my guy, I got JB is back in effect. JB, women have outshined the men's turn 100%, 1,000%. And I know a lot of you haters and I want to curse on Sunday, but I'm gonna say smart ass. But y'all, I see some of these comments that y'all been making, all like disrespecting these ladies, man. Give these people some love. Have y'all, Source? Have you seen the ratings just alone through the Sweet 16?
I haven't seen the ratings, but I heard some crazy stuff when they were comparing it to men's games and football and all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, they said the women's. They said the Sweet 16 itself was up 73% from last year for the women, while the men's is down 5%. We can guess why the men's is down a lot. One, because there's not of those perennial favorites, those Carolinas and those Kentuckys and those Kansases, those Dukes, are not a part of most or all of some of them. Some of them never got in.
UNC.
The UCLA's and the Gonzagas didn't go as far, and some people thought. So I can understand. We had no number ones in the Elite Eight, so I get it.
No ones, no twos, no threes, no fours. Well, what was Cincinnati? I mean, not Cincinnati. What is UConn? UConn was a 4, 5.
What's UConn? 4? I think they're 4.
4
right?
or 5. So no ones, twos, or threes.
Yeah. So I get it, but shout out to the ladies, man. I mean, they did numbers. I saw what they said that they were outdrawing. They had a couple of joints this year was outdrawing any NBA game of the season.
Yep.
Like 2.5 million, something like that. They said the highest. I forgot. I don't even have the numbers in front of me, but they said there was the one game that had drawn to that point. Anything closer that was it Boston against the Knicks? I think.
Mm-hmm.
It was, but they outdrew. They've had games during the tournament that outdrew anything the NBA has done in one single game this entire year. So shout out to these women, man.
The wild part is, and guys won't admit it, but there's something wrong mentally with people who go out of their way to go to a women's basketball or women, whatever, anything on social media to say something negative. It's a mental problem. Why do people we had the one guy actually in the group, we were having a conversation about women's basketball, and whoever he was felt the need to be like, well, nobody's watching that. Nobody cares about that. Why are you commenting if you don't care? Like, you could have kept that to yourself.
You don't care, keep it moving.
Yeah, just keep it moving. You don't have to tell us you don't care. We don't care that you don't care. And you don't have to care. Just, you ain't got to tell us. Keep it to yourself.
Yeah, no question about it. And that's, I can speak for our platform and the other platform. That's fine. I know you can say it's a free country, you can say what you want, but why say it? If you don't like something, keep it moving.
Keep it moving.
You know what I'm saying? We're going to promote it here because the two heads of this here house, we love it, right? And we're finding out it's more and more people that's loving it. But, it is what it is. But I found what I was looking for. So they say, you go back to when Iowa and Louisville played, at this highest point, it was at 2.5 million views.
That's crazy.
They said the most up to this point that any NBA game had gotten this year was back on March 5th, where the Knicks and the Celtics played. And that was 2.1. I'm just saying.
It's real in the field.
It's real in the field, and shout out to these here ladies. But nevertheless, great season for Virginia Tech. Coach Brooks did an outstanding job with those women today, and he's got a couple of them coming back next year, so we'll see where they land. They definitely gonna still be a force, in conference for sure.
Absolutely,
and probably out of it, and probably out of it. We wait. The crazy thing is to see with this women, as with the men, but with the women, we're waiting on to find out how many of these women are coming back for these squads, right? Because we can talk about look at down the rosters and we see all of these senior, but some of these women they can still come back because they have the COVID. Yeah, I was looking Tennessee. So their two best players, that actually played anyway, would end up being their leaders, but Rakia Jackson, who's one of the top 10, 12 players in the country. Shockingly, she decided to come back. She was a top 10 NBA pick and maybe a top 5 this year. But, they got that NL money too, NIL money, so something
it matters.
Okay. On the other half, Jordan Horson, they said they waited on her decision. She announced a couple of days ago she's leaving. So she's gone. Aaliyah Boston in South Carolina, she announced she's gone. And Don had already said that I'm going to tell her to go.
Right.
So that's going to be interesting. But let's get to this, man. Let's pick today's champion. The championship game is going to tip off today at 3:30 p.m. So they got it in the daytime. Like, was it in the daytime last year too? Early. I'm trying to remember. I
I
felt
can't
like it
remember.
was.
I thought it was like
Was
in
it?
the 8, the 7. I can't remember.
I know all of the in the previous years we were used to having um these games at night,
7, 8 o'clock.
7 o'clock,
Yeah.
8 o'clock. But I feel like one of these times, I feel like last year it may have been. I remember us making a comment of something that was going on around about the same time as
It was
WrestleMania or
it was
something.
during
This
the no, it was
WrestleMania
during
week
the day.
on
I
my
think it was during the
WrestleMania.
day.
I know JB in here, and I was like, I remember somebody making a comment about something saying that well, during both of them going to be on, and I was like, I'm not going to be worried about it because
Yeah.
that's what we got iPads for.
Ads. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's probably
yes.
me.
So anyway, it is going down during the day at 3:30. I put up a poll earlier this morning. We've got a few people that voted. I don't know where it is now, but as of earlier this morning, LSU held a slight lead at 55-45 on this. But if you go look across social media, unless things have shifted since last night, a lot of people are betting on Iowa.
Yeah,
Have
man.
Iowa favored to win this basketball game. I'm just hoping and betting it's just as good as everything we've seen these past few weeks. But what you think about today's matchup, man, for the title?
I don't think there's any way that this can not be a good game. Good to great game. I think it's going to be a battle. If anybody broke out and like took an actual lead, like say a 10-point lead, I mean, my money would be on Iowa for real. My money would be on Iowa to get out to a lead, if anybody. But did you see the? I think, and I hope it was real. I hope it was real. Morris said they can't guard me. They're not gonna be able to guard me like they guarded South Carolina. And Caitlin Clark responded through the media saying, they wouldn't guard her like they're not going to guard the same as they did in the last game. I thought that was an uh, interesting turn of events, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be some talking in this game. It's going to be some talking.
Well, why I believe this could be true because as you mentioned earlier, the Caitlin Clark, she got a little backbone. She talk, but I can believe it because Alexa. If you know anything about Alexis Morris, she does talk.
Yeah.
She can talk. She's, I don't know if a lot of people know, but she was with Kim Mulkey at Baylor, and Kim kicked her off the team. She had gotten in some trouble, and it's funny they end up back together, right? At a time when they were talking about that Kim was even hesitant of letting her on this team.
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling that Kim loving it now, right? So I could actually see Alexis Morris saying that, and I expect her to be super aggressive in this game because one, that's what she does, and two, just because everything that's circulating, right? And this is for it all, So everybody put all the focus on Bayou Barbie, or trademark pending, I guess that's what I heard. But Alexis Morris is a dog, and I think in this game we're going to see her go at it, and I want to see how Iowa chooses to defend her. Because me personally, I don't think they could afford at all to have the matchup being majority of the game that Caitlin Clark is trying to check her. You know what I'm saying? In a perfect world, Gabby Marshall, Kate Martin, those girls will try to draw that task, right? But it may have to be a double team, right? But I think that Kim Mulkey, I don't think she's going to change a lot of anything or what to do just because they're playing them, right? Other than the fact that I want to see when and how much they start picking up right at half court when they come across the court. That's what I want to see. I want to see when they actually go to that, if they have to go to it, and how much do they do it, and to try to deny Caitlin Clark the ball. But the key is Caitlin Clark don't care if you guard her or not. Right. And I've seen all these comments from the other game that was saying they're leaving her wide open. I don't know what y'all was watching. I watched a lot of them shots where people was in her face.
Though they weren't watching before she got wide open when she was coming off the screens or popping out to get open. They just talking about she was open because maybe she looked open when she shot the ball. When they saw her, she wasn't open. They were in her face the whole game. They were on her back.
Yeah, yeah. It's gonna be.
That's like saying Steph Curry is always open when you know somebody is defending them, but he runs around the whole court, and sometimes they just can't keep up. Like it happens. But that's crazy. That's crazy to say.
Yeah. So, how you think it's gonna? Any keys, or how do you think this thing is gonna come out?
I'm interested to see the two things that we talked about from Iowa's last game. One, how Iowa defends LSU. Like there's nobody that you're just going to let stand out there for LSU necessarily, or that leave unguarded. I should say there's nobody that you're going to leave unguarded like they did Raven Johnson on Friday. And on the Iowa side, or on Iowa's side offensively, I am interested to see how LSU defends Clark. Do they pick her up early? Like once the ball's out of her hands, what are we doing? Are we is everybody hedging? We hedging every time she come off a pick, like it's somebody that's guarding somebody else. There's got to be something. What are we doubling as soon as she get the rock? I'm not mad at that idea. I would be okay with holding Clark to 22 and making everybody else beat us. If everybody else beats us, we might just have to lose. But you ain't gonna score 41. You ain't scoring 41 again, and we lose because you scored 41. Even though I'll mention it again, she drops dimes, though. She passing wise, she drops dimes. I'm like, dog, Sabrina Ionescu is ill. She was ill in college. Kelsey Plum was ill in college. I don't know if they was this though. It's something different. It's
Let me
something
help you
different.
with that. They weren't. Go ahead.
So it's something different about this right here. So I have Iowa winning the championship, even though I predicted, South Carolina versus LSU with South Carolina beating them again. But I thought it would be closer, all the way through if it was South Carolina and LSU. And you would think that I'd go LSU, but I'm going with the best player on the court. I'm going with the best player on the court, and as long as she's on the court, I think I'm rocking with Iowa.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. Surprise, surprise. The whole key is, like we just said, how they defend Caitlin Clark. Because if you can get that one person out of the way, their best player, best shooter, you definitely got a chance. And especially if the other people are not going to make shots, because LSU is not going to give you a bunch of chances. That thing don't go in. I'm just,
True.
And it's not all, it's not all, it's not all the Bayou Bobby, man. LaDasia Williams is like the person nobody want to talk about, but she is a dog in her own right down low, and she got an attitude too, bro. And that's why I'm picking LSU to win this, because I just don't know after that game against South Carolina. I don't know what type of shape the bigs of Iowa in down low, right? They took a beating down there. Regardless of the fact they did an excellent job defending, Aaliyah Boston, and Cardoso, the best they could, but they took a beating down there. So I just don't know. Cesano, or how to pronounce her name, they put Warnock down there sometime. I just don't know what kind of shape they're in. I know LSU gonna be ready. Their bodies are used to banging people. You know what I'm saying? So I think the second chance shot is going to be the key to this whole matchup. But yeah, I'm going with LSU winning, but I think it's going to be a close game. But I think Kim Mulkey finds a way. I don't know if you can stop Caitlin Clark. I ain't seen nobody do it, but I know it sounds crazy, but holding Caitlin Clark to 31 or 30, that might be a good thing. That might be all they need to do.
It could be the difference.
That could be
31
the
and 41.
Say, yeah, man. You're talking about holding somebody to 30 points. That might be the difference. But yeah, I got the role with Angel Reese and them today. They've been a story. They've had a couple of games this year that they can use. When they played Tennessee, I bring it up again. I think the last time, so Tennessee got them last time in the SEC tournament, right? After losing to them early in the season. And the difference, what I noticed in that game, the first time that they beat Tennessee, man, they was catching them at half court. Rakia Jackson was being doubled every time she got the basketball, and then they didn't let her touch the ball in the fourth, right? When they played them, when they lost to them, about 3 weeks ago or so, it was a different story. They weren't doubling her. Rakia did a great job of getting the basketball. She was putting it down on them. You see what I'm saying? I don't think they make that mistake again. I think they do everything they can to make somebody else have to beat them other than Caitlin Clark. So they got to hold Caitlin to at least 30, just to 30.
Hey, I got to mention for Flage. Hey, I know some of y'all. I know some of y'all watched the rap game. You had to watch the rap game. The rap game was an all right show. If you like reality TV and you like hip hop, then you might have watched the rap game. So you might recognize Flage from that time. She was dope on there actually. You know Rick Ross? That's her favorite line. You know Rick Ross? They had her working because she used to work at Wingstop up in there. Well, that's the story they were selling on the show anyway. So she got to meet Rick Ross. But yeah, and now she got Kehlani at the game, and Wayne said, "Yeah, me and Flage, I talked to her, and we got to do something, musically." I'm like, "Oh man, what, Flage? Okay, I see you."
No doubt. So, you taking Iowa? A lot of people taking Iowa in the comments. I can see it. I just want this to go and end well. Hopefully for Angel Reese and crew. Now they've been remarkable, even in close games. I bring my close game theory from football over to basketball because a couple of weeks ago, no, they could have been gone, and I've seen that. So chalk it up to experience. But like it or not, I got Kim Mulkey doing something pretty incredible and earning her third national title as a coach. She's, if you really want to dig deep, she's had a remarkable basketball career, period. Go back and check her high school numbers and championships and then her college, and you'll see she's remarkable. Whether whether or not you like her or the way she dresses.
Yeah, the outfit was wild.
She's going straight to if they win, she's going straight to the club.
The outfit was wild on Friday night. She was wild.
All right, no doubt. So we spent way more time talking about the women than we are on the men. So that, but it is what it is. I think
we ain't even got to talk about nothing else for real. We can go home. No, okay. All right, what we talking about?
Let me ask you this though, bro. As a kid or as an adult, because I know you're a family man. Were you ever big on board games?
Board games, yeah, man. Yeah. I love board games.
What's your favorites?
Well, I mean, Scrabble is my favorite personally. I'm not mad at a game of Monopoly, even though it takes 47 hours to complete. We used to do Life and Payday. Yeah, and a little sorry.
You never played Clue?
Clue was not my joint. But I did have Clue back in the day when I was a kid.
No doubt. Well, I just started this saying off what the famous line we used to hear growing up as kids, and I remember the old commercial we used to see when they on Saturday mornings when they're eating the cereal and they show it in between the cartoon and they would advertise it. The butler did it. And last night's game, in San Diego State and Florida, the butler did it. He hit one of the most unlikely guys to take the shot on the team. Actually took the shot and he wins the thing at the buzzer in a game that Florida Atlantic, like, they just lost that thing. Like, they seemingly had this game pretty much definitely throughout the second half. And that's got to be one of the most crushing ways to lose a game of that magnitude, something that you had.
Dog, to second half, they had it in the first half for a good minute, even though a comeback was made by San Diego State in the first half. But pretty much Florida Atlantic was dominating the first half as well.
Right.
Yeah, that's a tough way to go out. And to think they were up by one and had to rock with less than about 10 seconds left, or so. With the big shot block, and it's a tough way to go out. It's a tough way to again. Had the lead, had the ball, didn't score, gave up a bucket, and took the L. That's a tough way to go out, especially in the Final Four.
Man, that was so tough, man. But I mean, hey, if you're gonna try to live up to we've been talking about with these women, that's a game that you can put in there, even though
Yeah.
it's with participants. A lot of people outside of, their respective, or maybe Florida, or maybe Cali, whatever, were overly pressed about, right?
Right.
But man, what a great game! What a crazy ending! And no matter what happens from here on out with San Diego State, you're gonna always remember that. At least you're gonna. I don't know if we're gonna get these championship moments, but when they go on and they show those great CBS Final Four moments, you've etched yourself in history.
Yeah. It was Keith Smartish.
Don't bring that up, bro. That joint still bothers me. That joint still bothers me. Um, so we was that close to having, what was Florida Atlantic? Weren't they a ninth seed?
Nancy, yeah. That was
Dude,
five
we
and
were
five and
like
nine.
last second shot away from having a ninth seed playing for a national title.
It was Villanova, baby. And Villanova
Wow.
was they were 8.
But back in what, 85?
Yeah.
Yeah. Historic game too. What, that was a game. Uh they beat Georgetown. What, they shot like, what did they shoot from like 7-8% from the floor or
I
something?
don't know. We had Harold Jensen from the corner.
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. That is crazy. But yeah, it was a really good game, man. And what a way to lose, man. What a way to lose, and what a way to win on that game. Last night's game, though, the Huskies against Miami. Huskies just do what we've been talking about for the past couple of weeks. Like, it's just like, it seems like this is their time for me. Like, we always talk about teams that are not a number 1 or number 2 seed, and they get hot at a particular time, and everything just starts to click. And that just seems like what it is, as they pretty much control this game throughout.
Yeah. They on a run. They on a run, dog. They on a mission. And I gotta give a shout out to Mob Scent, who I don't know who that is, and usual suspect Marvin, for being the only 2 people to predict that UConn would be in the championship. Wait, hold on. Am I tripping? I know Marv. Did Marv? I thought Marv had that. Yeah, to be the only 2 people to have UConn making it to the championship. 2 people out of the 40.
They're UConn fans, if you know.
Nah, well, I don't know who the one guy is, but I know Marv ain't no UConn fan.
Okay.
Although he did have the most sheets in the contest. I will
You
throw
put in
that
12 sheets, he honest.
out. He definitely had more than he had double what you had, actually. But
But you know what though?
that's
I
neither
want
here
to.
nor there.
I just want to say, when I think it was a couple years ago, when I won the SBP one, it was a couple of people who loved to talk in the group. I guess so. Prime had in, I'm saying 60. What's that song they got out there? It's cool when they do it. It's a problem when I do it. You know what I'm saying? But it is
Yep.
what it is. Y'all ain't say nothing to this man because it ain't Prime. But
That's it.
carry on.
Meanwhile, I'm sitting at 16, and not that I expected any better, but it is what it is.
Yeah. So, what you got in today's matchup, bro? Who you think win? Well, tomorrow's matchup, I should say, the
Tomorrow,
national championship game with San Diego State and in Connecticut.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Prime. I think the UConn run continues.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's a way around a way around this, especially when you think about how San Diego State played. Not really how they played, but how they were down, not by 2 points, like for a good portion of yesterday's game, and that was against Florida Atlantic. I can't
Mm-hmm.
see them playing around with UConn and not getting dragged if they drag their feet at all on the San Diego State side. So I'm going with UConn in this one. Also, did you realize? I don't know if you might have seen it. I guess it was in the group that Jordan, what, a player from UConn and Angel Reese are
Oh,
cousins.
Hawkins, they're cousins.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I had no idea.
Well, I'm surprised I never mentioned it. If you go to, I had caught it a while ago. If you go to Angel Reese's, well, I guess would be her mom's. Did you see about a couple of weeks ago where people's all up in Angel Reese's mom's DM? That, they think they sending stuff to the daughter and actually send it to her.
Yep.
Yeah, if you go through some of her pictures and things, there's some pictures of them from in the past together, from back
Ah,
in Maryland.
okay.
A younger Angel Reese and a younger Jordan Hawkins. So yeah, they're cousins,
Wow. Okay.
and that's why I believe that both of them. I'm picking both of them to actually win national championships. Let's keep it in the family. You know what I'm saying? So be great. A lot of partying going on in Baltimore.
Understood.
All right, so there's where so we both got UConn. So hoping for a great day of basketball from the ladies, and I'm hoping for a great day, a great evening tomorrow night for basketball for all of us that love basketball. So we'll see, we'll see.
Indeed. Indeed.
Um, this one right here. Do you have any memorable tournament moments? I know you spoke on a couple of them. One, I mean, we just mentioned Keith Smart. And of course, we talked about the you mentioned the Villanova squad that took out Georgetown that year,
Oh
shooting.
yeah. Yeah. True.
They
Yeah.
shot like what 78% from the floor in that game.
Yeah. It's crazy.
They were like 9 of 10 in the second half, if I remember correctly, of that game, which is unheard of from the floor.
Do I have any memorable moments? I got lots of memorable moments. Uh, you know, the NC State moment with Valvano running around the court.
Yeah.
I actually went to NC State's basketball camp that following summer, and Valvano was there and talking crazy to us. He cursed at us. I was like, "Oh my gosh, he cursed at us!" I thought it was like crazy that he cursed at us.
So you got
But
to get
yeah,
off the effing court.
hanging out and meeting Kelsey Williams down that joint. They used to play for NC State. Um, Actually, real quick, they were after the camp. They were playing like the coaches and players were playing, but they were warming up. And I just remember this one. Somebody shot the ball. Kelsey Williams jumped, grabbed the rim, reached back, caught the ball, and bang that joint. I was like, I had never seen that before in my life. It was crazy. But anyway, so that moment, I remember Stacey Allman dunking on BJ Armstrong and then pointing at him because BJ was laying on the
Ooh,
floor. He walked
yeah.
back and pointed at him. I was like, yo, they wild. Uh, I think Bobby Hurley tackling, and I think it was Anderson Hunt was going for a layup
Mm-hmm.
in the championship, and
I was
Bobby
mad about that.
pretty much,
That's one of my guys right there, Anderson
yeah.
Hunt.
I'm like, dog, and that's when they beat him too. That's when Duke beat UNLV. I was like, I was mad about that joint.
The fix was
Uh,
in. I
the,
still say the fix was in.
that's what I'm saying. The Keith Smart joint, of course, from the corner, bang. Shoot, VCU obviously the whole run, the whole run to the Final Four. I remember the whole family being together trying to will them to win on that Saturday night when they took the L to Gonzaga, I believe it was. Shoot, VCU beating Duke.
Yeah.
It's a lot of them. Of course, I'm not even gonna take yours, Prime. I'm gonna let you have yours, so I ain't gonna say nothing.
Well, no, it's the one that came to mind when I told you we were going to talk about this, and it's because it's one of my favorites. And it happened with a team that I told you that it was one of my favorite years, but it's a team that I'm not going to say they are my favorite team, but I yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a fan. And I always told you that what makes me mad about it is, of course, they play on the West Coast. So I
Ball.
got to struggle. You know what I'm saying? I got to struggle sometimes if I want to stay up and watch them play basketball, especially in the past. Um, but my moment would be Tyus Edney. Tyus Edney back in 95 when they were playing Missouri. Remember, Missouri was trying to hold for the last shot, down by one. They come down, they score, leaving like 4.8 seconds on the clock. And the timeout is called. And I wish this is why I wish the video wasn't acting crazy because I was going to actually try to show this video during this. And then they go to the sideline, and then UCLA basketball coach at the time, Jim Herrick, he didn't really draw up a play, I guess. He said that there was the intention the entire time was to have Tyus Edney get the ball, and he said go down the baseline. Well, Tyus Edney gets the ball, races down, counter the center of the court counter, goes down with 4.8 seconds and in traffic and hits the bucket. That is one of my favorite basketball memories of all time. That was in the second round of the NCAA tournament. And then I love the line. I don't know if you remember this. They asked Jim Herrick, like, what gave you the confidence when you were saying you're going to give the ball to Tyus Edney that he was going to be able to get down the court in 4.8 seconds? He was like, shoot, I seen Jerry West with the Lakers do it in 3 seconds. I love that, man. And what was the significance of him doing that year? You remember? You know, right?
The significance of Tyus Edney doing that year?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What was the significance?
They won the title that year.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that happened in the second round. Remember, that happened in the second round.
Yeah.
They had advanced a couple of more games, but and they ended up playing in the championship game, beating then defending champion Arkansas, which that game was great in itself.
Well, yeah, I definitely remember that because Arkansas was my squad, 40 minutes of hell.
Oh, yeah.
That was my squad.
We talk about Coach K basketball all the time. You know, those were the two teams I ran the most.
Oh,
outside of the classic teams, but you get me on it. I'd run the O'Bannon brothers and Toby Bailey, Tyus Edney, Cameron Dollar. You know what I'm saying? We talk about Nolan Richardson squad, and we had Corey Beck and Scotty Thurman and Corliss Williamson.
Yeah.
So
that was it.
Yeah. Only other moments, I'm gonna shout out Melo getting that title with Bayheimer in 2003. I think that was big. And you mentioned we got it. So you mentioned Villanova, Rolly Massimino, and them, of course, in that great game against Georgetown. So,
one last memory I got to throw out there. I can't leave it out. UVA making it to the Sweet 16. My old teammate from high school, Yuri Barnes, being a part of that squad. Yuri and Junior Burrow, Jason Williford, who went to John Marshall, Corey Alexander, et cetera. Yeah. And then playing Nick Van Exel, actually. And Nick the Quick, it's one of my favorite players of all time. But yeah, shout out to my guy, Yuri Barnes, old Manchester alum, L4L.
All right, so we pretty much will just keep it college today. We got a couple more topics. I had an NBA jump. We're going to save that for another time. But so the last topic actually is going to be something that's everybody in college basketball, of course, have seen and know about. It definitely hits home a little more for you and I and a lot of members in the group. And that is the fact that Mike Rhodes, VCU or former VCU head coach, now he's moved on and he's headed over to Penn State. And so to me, it's just starting to seem like VCU is going to be like a stepping stone. You know what I'm saying? Coaches.
Absolutely. VCU's always actually been a stepping stone for coaches just because of the size of the school. Can you say mid-major? Can you, I guess you can say mid-major. But VCU is usually good at basketball. They're usually good. And they usually have a good to great coach. Matter of fact, one former coach is coach of the year this year, and Shaka Smart. And dog, I don't know if you're in the VCU groups or anything. I'm in one. Dog, They have been hating on Shaka Smart since he left. We had the whole conversation of, dog, how much? So he going from, couple 100,000 to a couple million, and y'all mad like he not supposed to do it. Like, what are we talking about? That's crazy. It's life changing. Same thing with Mike Rhodes. And there's no difference. Other than the response of the people that I've seen and how they've responded to Mike Rhodes leaving. And Mike Rhodes was a guy that said, this is my dream job. He said, this is my dream job. So you did not expect that, but dog, money talk. And I don't care what nobody say. You can't be mad at them. You can't be mad at them because you got to know if there's a bigger opportunity that they didn't expect, even bigger than their dream job, and it can change their life in multiple ways, then why would you not? Why would you not?
Indeed. And to the folks who are not getting why it says it's his dream job, I do believe he's from there, right? He grew up. I think he grew up, or he
He,
spent a lot
he
of time there, right?
I don't know. I think he was a coach. He was an assistant.
Mm.
I know he coached at Randolph Macon because he coached Rob, who was in the group,
Uh-huh.
at Randolph Macon. And yeah, so he always had ties to VCU, and he was coming back. So boom,
Yep.
yeah.
So can't be mad at the man. He's moving on. But there's been, like I said, it's a lot of coaches coming through. And it's funny with him leaving because I think about back, even when he was an assistant, he actually was the speaker at my daughter's graduation.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. When she graduated from Douglas Freeman, he was actually the speaker as an assistant coach. He did a very good job too. So, and that's been a few years ago. But yeah, that's very interesting. But you go down that list and you look at when somebody becomes a coach at VCU, you're starting to think, well, just how long, especially if they had some success. We're going through the Jeff Capel, he's over at Pitt now. Anthony Grant, who's had his struggles at Bama, he's over at Dayton. Of course, you just mentioned Shaka. People thought he might have gotten himself in trouble after his first season at Texas, but he landed on his feet now. Will Wade, well, we know Will Wade's been in the news a lot.
Will Wade out here making his own problems in real life,
and still got his name popping up for jobs. Like,
exactly.
I'm like, hold on, he ain't bulletproof like Patino. Like Patino, we know. Like somebody in the group said, Patino is a made man. He's connected. You know what I'm saying?
But Will Wade, though?
Yeah, and Patino have been in some stuff. I mean, he's been in the same stuff that Will Wade is in, and then some marital stuff. He'd have been all type of stuff, but and his name's still popping out there. But we're talking about Will Wade.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But maybe he got some friends we don't know about.
Something ain't right.
Yeah, man. So VC. So what's the old boy? I didn't even think about it. What's the old boy that just named the coach at VCU? I ain't even done the work.
From Utah State. I forgot his name.
Yeah. So we'll see how he does, and see if at some point if Ryan Odom.
Right. Odom. Yes. Yeah.
Ryan Odom. So he was named Wednesday. So we'll see how long he stays around, how long he's there. But I don't even know. Like somebody asked me the other day, they was like, "Well, damn, what can VCU do to keep the people?" I don't know. Like, you do what you can do. You afford what you can afford. And I don't. Siegel's son ain't that old, so I don't know. I don't know where you talking about getting building a bigger arena. I mean, I don't know where that's gonna happen.
Right.
They're already about to do something. They're already trying to do something with the old Coliseum grounds where the games used to be played when I was in college. But I don't know. I don't know. So we'll see how things pan out for Ryan Odom. You got anything else basketball? We got a couple of real quick joints, so we're gonna get out of here.
Nah, Ricky Wakefield asked, didn't UVA make it to the Elite Eight? Nah, they lost to Cincinnati in the Sweet 16 game.
Oh yeah. Got you. That is true. I do remember that.
Oh, you said, do I have any? Would you say, do I have anything else?
You got anything else basketball related for these other very quick topics? We're gonna get out of here.
Go Lakers. That's all I got.
Hold on, who's it?
You see what it is? It's G.
That's Big G. What up, G? Greg, what's up, bro? I think a lot of us wouldn't get the job, and that's the case, right? But anyway,
Barely get a job, let alone that job.
You know what? Nah, I'm gonna hit this real quick because I'm really more interested on your take than because I don't have a whole lot to say about it, but I did put it in there. So just in case somebody wants to hear a thought on it, I'm gonna throw this in there real quick. And that is going to be, do players fear LeBron? And I don't know if you've seen some of the comments that have come up by players that have played in the league or played with LeBron James. But there is a feeling amongst a ton of those players that people feared Jordan. They don't fear LeBron. Now, I'm going to say that meaning that most of these people that were saying this weren't really saying anything bad about LeBron. They were just saying that the fear factor was never there. Do you think that was that's the case?
I don't know if anybody fears like. Well, you've never heard about LeBron punching anybody in the face.
That's
So that's part of it.
yeah. Yeah, I try to tell the guy that worked with me the same thing. I say the difference is if you're talking about some things, even if it happened in practice, some things just transfer to the court. You
Right.
see what I'm saying? And along with your mentality and your attitude. Now, and I said I can think of a couple of occasions that we know of that that Mike then swung on some people on his
Yeah.
own team.
On his own team and during games,
Yeah,
other teams.
yeah,
So we've seen it, but we've never seen LeBron, physically assault anyone. So that might be part of it. Um, but do you have to fear? Like, did people? I don't know. I start going down the line. If you feared Shaq, it wasn't because you saw him hit anybody, because he definitely missed people when he swung on them. So it wasn't that. It was just its sheer size.
right.
Did people fear Kareem? Kareem was, ornery and mean, and especially in his latter days. So if you feared him, it was just because he was mean. So maybe somebody feared him. Did you fear Larry Bird? I don't know that any of Larry Bird's teammates feared him, even though we saw Larry Bird fight people. Like it wasn't like we didn't see him get in fights, throw blows and all that. So, but I wouldn't think anybody feared Larry Bird. Did anybody fear Magic Johnson? Nobody probably feared Magic Johnson because he was such a smiley character, even though, he was an intense competitor, but he was, not angry playing the game. He was happy to play the game. So I'm not sure why people would have to fear LeBron, or why this even became a topic of conversation outside of, well, they're gonna compare. People are so mad that anybody has the audacity to be as great as, or close to as great as, Michael Jordan, that they like, you know what? He don't do this, he don't do that. And no, he ain't Michael Jordan. Like they again, people try to take LeBron as if he's not the second best player or third or whatever you want to say of all time, and like he's the 1,522nd greatest player of all time. Like it's that big a difference between him and Jordan. It is not. It's not that big a deal. But people try to take anything just to make it seem like a bigger thing
Yeah.
when comparison to Michael Jordan.
It's my only pushback that I would have with what you said is not. I agree with what you said about that. I actually think, to an extent, there could have been a couple of players that might have feared getting on the court, and maybe it was more of a team concept. But the Larry Bird, I don't know, man. Like getting on, of course, Detroit Pistons probably didn't.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, if he
Yeah,
started talking to you and telling you what he's about to do,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like yeah, Larry Bird was different, and then you put him on that team. They not known like the bad boys, but you can go back and find them videos. Larry gonna talk to you. He'll swing on you. We know what McHale was about. I can actually see, though, a lot of them wouldn't admit it now, but I could actually see some teams back in the day probably fearing these guys a little bit on the court.
but the question is, do people fear a 38-year-old LeBron James?
Right.
Catch 29-year-old LeBron James and then say, do people fear him? Yeah, of course they do. Definitely. So, do I don't know. I don't know. I think that's wild. I think it's wild. Not what you're saying, but I just
Yeah.
think the idea is wild.
What players actually feared now?
It's a fair question.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Do you fear Giannis? If you did, I'd understand. I understand.
And we talking about fear. You scared they're gonna do something to you on the court, or you just fear them facing up.
Right, right.
Because I definitely would agree. I mean, if you fear Giannis, I can understand. I'm gonna tell you something. You can say what you want about how you feel about this guy and his take on the media, especially comments he just made about him not giving a damn about his legacy. But I'm gonna be honest with you.
Dame Dollar.
Huh? No, not Dame.
Oh,
I'm talking about KD. Y'all can say what y'all want to about KD, but y'all know when KD is on one, and he's on, and he's I don't want to say on the right team because y'all can start bringing up that Golden State stuff. But at any given time, KD can be unstoppable.
True.
When he's healthy. So, how does that translate to a deciding game? I don't know, but that's a darn good question. I mean, that's a darn good question. Yeah, I just thought that was interesting, though. Last couple of really, really quick things, man. One, have you? We just had opening day, so we're on the fourth day of baseball, right?
Right.
Have you had a chance to peep any of the game? I know it's early, but any chance to peep anything?
Only thing I've seen is that ill catch. I don't even remember who it was or what team it was. Was it the Mets? I can't remember. The catch in right field where dude reached back like this and caught a joint. You haven't seen that? No. It was opening day, I believe. I'm gonna send you the video because I know Kevin. What dang Booker's Kevin Booker posted it on his page, and I was gonna snatch it, but you couldn't share it. So yeah, I'm gonna go record the video from his joint and post it in the group. That joint was crazy.
Bet. Yeah, I just been paying attention, trying to pay attention to the rule changes. So everybody was up in arms about the pitch timer.
Yeah.
And there's still going to be a work in progress, but I found it interesting. They said that on opening day, at least, that the games were average about 26 minutes shorter. And that's what the league was pushing for.
That's good.
The bigger bases, which nobody talks about, but the bases are bigger. They went from 15 to 18 inches wide, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're like, okay, 3 inches, but that does shorten the distance between the base paths, right?
Right.
They said there's been 21 opening day there was 21 stolen bases. So
I love it.
So think about how many you've seen have been just that close, and they got to keep going for the review, and he just missed them. Now, it might up the excitement. We should probably get more stolen bases, which is what the league wants. They want that excitement. The NFL always wants more offense. And the last thing was, of course, the shift restrictions on that. I haven't really seen, anything talked about as far as that about banning the shifts and the whole nine to this point. So I guess we'll see that. But I just thought it was interesting as far as the games being almost a half hour shorter on average so far, and the amount of stolen bases.
As someone used to Little League, like not high school, and don't get it wrong, but Cliff know. I don't know if Cliff is in here. Cliff know from first to third. If I was on first, I was on third. If I was on first, I was on third. You might 2 pitches later, I'm gonna be over that jump. I wasn't great at baseball. I was all right, but yeah, first I was still in second, I was still in third. That was just happening.
So no doubt, looking to have more fun in MLB as this season goes on. Shout out to everybody again in the SPP Fantasy Baseball. We doing this thing. Very last thing I wanted to ask you, real quick, and we're going to peel on out of here. And I know you've probably heard, being as deep in the hip hop thing as you are. First of all, looks like Hulu and FX and got together. They're about to release the Jay Dilla doc. I think it's supposed to be April 7th, actually. So they're about to drop this documentary about Jay Dilla. How you feel about the Jay Dilla doc coming out?
I can't wait. I'm excited to see it, and to I love a good documentary. And when it's about somebody that was great and actually dope, and somebody I wish I would have had a chance to meet, then I'm definitely in. So I'm all in for the Jay Dilla doc.
Yep, you and me both. I cannot wait, man. I believe if I saw the date right, they think they're saying April 7th on that, which we're basically 5 days away from that. So you guys be on the lookout for that documentary. And the last thing, I know you saw the news. Pete Rock put out that he has an album coming out. He's producing the whole thing with Ghost and Ray called Green. That was the Green Haven, I think.
I don't know what the name of it was, but man.
Yeah, so I don't see a release date on that, but I am super duper hype about that one. And
Yeah, that's
along those lines, to let the people know as well, we're not going to be on next week. We taking it off. We'll come back strong. Any sports news pop off the Sunday after, we will be back for that, probably for a short show. And then Source and I are going to be recording. I'm going to see if we can we'll maybe get a guest or two. We'll see. But we're going to be giving our thoughts on the Wu-Tang American Saga series, which is about to end. They're either episode 8 or 9 now, one of the two, but it'll be over by then. So we're gonna record that and put it out for the people. I can't wait to do that. So we will be back on for a show in about 2 weeks. So look for all that. Anything you got for the people before we peel out?
I'll be live tomorrow evening, 5:30 p.m. on TikTok. I don't know what I'm doing. Somebody this morning suggested they said Hall and Oates against Genesis would be dope. And I'm like, I don't know if that would be dope, but maybe I should do a unmelanated bootleg versus. I haven't done a bootleg versus in a long time, but an unmelanated joint, man, that might be something. You know,
ain't no might be something. That would be something.
Might be a whole different market of people over that jump.
I'm with it.
So we'll see.
With it. Speaking of that, have you ever, when you doing your unmelanated joints or whatever, is there a song that comes to mind like automatically you hadn't heard in a while, and the second that I know it's a lot of them, but that one that really comes to mind, that the second you hear it again, you'd be like, man, that was my jam.
Yeah, well, I play it all the time. Don't Dream It's Over by Crowded House. I play that joint like every time I do unmelanated, I play that joint. But every time I hear it, I'm like, yo, that was my joint too. It's a lot of them. Like you said, it's a lot of unmelanated jams that we had because again, we didn't have BT or early on we didn't have BT or BT had just started coming on and then it was only on 8 o'clock till 11 or whatever, and it wasn't really music or hip hop. It was like Bobby Jones Gospel Hour came on Sunday, you know. So we didn't have a lot of choices, but we had the MTV jams. So that's what we ended up resonating with, and they still stick with us to this day. What you got?
My joint, out of all the love, I mean, I told you I might look dark, but you know, I'm probably white, man. My soul, I got it. It is what it is. I love a lot of those joints, but the joint that I love, and I remember not the last time, I've heard it several times since then because I play it now, but it was a long period of time since I had heard it, then it ended up on the radio, is Everything She Wants by George Michael. Bruh, somebody tell me why I worked so hard for you. George was killing that joint, man. That was my joint. So, you know, I love the Duran. I'm a huge Tears for Fears guy. You know, all that. You know how I feel about Hall and Oates. Even though Hall and Oates, you know, depending on what you're playing, Hall and Oates could be played on the pop station. A lot of Hall and Oates stuff could be played on the soul station. So I love all those groups, Duran, Tears for Fears, all those. But that George Michael joint, Everything She Wants, and that joint get me hyped every time. So rest in peace.
I'm about to remember that joint next time.
Yeah. Put that joint in somewhere. Yeah, that joint that's the club joint too. No doubt. All right, y'all, we about to get up out here. We will be back. I'm not saying there might not be a video appearance or something. I don't know. I may or may not, depending on what I'm doing, jump on real quick at halftime of the women's game. I don't know. I might not. I may. It depends. Depends on how the beers take me, bro. But if I don't,